Claire Dawson had always been the kind of girl who followed the rules. Growing up in a small town in Ohio, under the stern but loving care of her father, Richard Dawson, meant living by a certain code. Richard, a decorated military veteran turned successful businessman, ran his household the way he ran his company, with discipline, high expectations, and zero tolerance for deviation. Claire, now 24, had returned from college in Boston and was working as a junior curator at the local art museum. Though her father had hoped she would study business or law, she had pursued art history. That was her first rebellion, and it hadn't gone unnoticed. But what Richard didn't know, yet, was that Claire had committed a second rebellion, one that would rock the very foundation of their family. She had fallen in love. His name was Marcus Wells. A carpenter by trade, Marcus was warm, humble, and unapologetically passionate about his work. Claire had met him at the museum, where he'd been contracted to build custom exhibit frames. Their connection had been instant, conversations that stretched late into the night, shared dreams, laughter, and respect. They were opposites in many ways, yet perfectly matched where it counted. 4 months, Claire had kept their relationship hidden. She knew her father wouldn't approve. Richard Dawson didn't believe in love when it came to marriage. He believed in strategy, in status, in building alliances. Claire's mother had passed when she was only 8, and since then, Richard had poured all his focus into raising his only child into someone who would carry the Dawson legacy with pride. Now, standing in the kitchen with her hands shaking slightly, Claire decided it was time. "Dad," she said, voice calm but resolute, "I need to talk to you about something important." Richard glanced up from his morning newspaper, lifting an eyebrow. "What is it, sweetheart?" Claire took a deep breath. "I'm seeing someone. His name is Marcus. I love him. And I want to marry him." The silence that followed was deafening. Richard slowly folded his newspaper, laid it on the table, and stood. "What did you say?" he asked, his voice low, controlled. "I said I love Marcus. He's kind, hardworking, honest, and I want to spend my life with him." Richard's jaw tightened. "What does he do?" "He's a carpenter," she answered, bracing herself. "A carpenter," Richard repeated, the word tasting bitter on his tongue. "Claire, we didn't raise you to throw away your life on some handyman." "He's not just a handyman," Claire said, her voice rising. "He's talented. He owns his own business. And he treats me like I matter. Isn't that what counts?" Richard slammed his palm against the table. "What counts is security, stability, legacy. Do you think love will pay your bills? Do you think love will keep you safe when life gets hard?" Claire felt tears prick her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. "I don't need a man with money. I need a man who respects me." "You're being naive," he snapped. "You'll marry who I say you'll marry. And I've already spoken to the Blakes." Claire's breath caught. The Blakes. Jonathan Blake was her father's business partner's son. Polished, well-connected, and cold as ice. She had gone on 2 dates with him months ago and felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. "You can't be serious," she whispered. "I'm completely serious," he said. "Jonathan is from a good family. He's stable, smart, and he'll keep you in the life you're accustomed to." Claire stepped back. "That's not the life I want." Richard's voice lowered into something dangerous. "Then you're no daughter of mine." The words sliced deep. Claire stared at him, her heart cracking. "I love you, Dad," she whispered. "But I won't let you control my life anymore." She left the room without another word. Over the next few days, Claire moved in with a friend from college. Her father tried calling once, but she didn't answer. She needed time. Time to think, to cry, to breathe without the weight of expectations. Marcus was her constant, encouraging her to follow her heart, never pressuring her for more than she could give. "Your father will come around," he said one night as they sat on the porch swing outside his apartment. "He just needs to see that I love you truly." Claire smiled sadly. I hope you're right. Weeks passed. Then months. The tension with her father remained thick and unresolved. But Claire was thriving. She'd earned a promotion at the museum, and Marcus's custom furniture business was gaining traction. Then one day, everything changed. Richard Dawson had a heart attack. Claire rushed to the hospital, her heart in her throat. Seeing her father pale and fragile in a hospital bed made something inside her crumble. No matter what they had said to each other, he was still her father. When he opened his eyes and saw her, his expression softened. "You came," he murmured. "Of course I did," Claire whispered, taking his hand. They didn't speak about Marcus that day, or the next. But after Richard was discharged and recovering at home, Claire visited often. Slowly, the ice began to melt. One afternoon, she found him in the backyard, sitting in the garden her mother had once tended. She would have liked him, he said quietly. Claire turned to him, startled. "What? Your mother? She believed in love. I didn't. Maybe that's why she always looked a little sad." Claire sat beside him, heart pounding. "I didn't want to lose you, Claire," he said. "But I realize now that trying to control your future was the surest way to push you away." Tears filled her eyes. "I just want you to be proud of me." "I am," he said. "And if this Marcus makes you happy, then I want to meet him." Claire could barely breathe. "You mean it?" He nodded. "Bring him to dinner. But no tofu nonsense, all right? I want steak." She laughed through her tears. "Deal." The dinner was awkward at first, Richard sizing Marcus up with sharp eyes, Marcus doing his best to be polite yet firm. But something shifted over dessert. Marcus shared a story about building a rocking chair for a World War II veteran, and Richard listened intently. They found common ground in unexpected places: respect for hard work, admiration for craftsmanship, and love for Claire. Months later, when Marcus proposed, Richard was the first one Claire called. The wedding was small, simple, and stunning. Claire wore her mother's veil, and Richard walked her down the aisle with tears in his eyes. "I still think you could have been a lawyer," he whispered as he kissed her cheek. Claire smiled. "But I wouldn't have been happy." As Marcus took her hand and they exchanged vows, Claire looked out at her father in the front row. For the first time in her life, she felt truly free and deeply loved. Not just by the man standing beside her, but by the man who had once said no, and then learned to say yes. Sometimes, love isn't about winning. It's about choosing to understand. And that choice changes everything.